What I'm going to be talking about today is what I get asked about all the time, and that is what tool to use when applying foundation. Welcome. I am so glad to have you. If it's the first time here, my name is Darla Rodriguez, and if you're back visiting, I'm so glad to have you back. So like I said, I get asked all the time what tools to use when applying foundation. A lot of people use fingers. A lot of people use beauty blenders. A lot of people use brushes. And really what it comes down to, one, is what is comfortable to you. I personally don't really like to use my fingers because I just don't like the product on my hand. I feel like my hands soak up all the product. So one, I'm wasting, and two, I'm washing my hands a lot. That is my reasoning for not using my fingers. Sometimes I will to blend out, just kind of press in, because you do have some oils on your fingers. So like around my eyes, I will kind of spread things out with my fingers. But for foundation, I'm not a fan. We also have beauty blenders, and there's different kinds. This one here is a Morphe beauty blender, and this one, gosh, I'm not even sure what brand, but I do love it. I'll have to find out for you guys. This is a great blender as well. I've been using this. I like the point. I've been using it under my eyes. And this one is a foundation blender. There's so many different ones, and really the softness. So what you want to do with a beauty blender is you completely soak it wet, squeeze out the excess, and then it blends out your makeup really nicely. I personally don't use a beauty blender for myself, and I'll tell you why for me. So I use a hydrating formula of a foundation that is more of a medium coverage. It's not full coverage by any means. And I feel like when you're wetting a beauty blender and trying to blend that out, it shears it just too much, because obviously you're adding some water to it. These are perfect for a full coverage foundation. They're also perfect if you go in with your brush and you feel like it's not blended out, you can go back over it. That would work. But just for me, it's not my choice because it doesn't work for the foundation that I use. I do think they're phenomenal for full coverage foundations. I have so many people ask me, what do you think the best one is? There is no best one, honest. It's like so your preference. It's a personal preference and how you work it. Because you might be able to use a beauty blender and get the most phenomenal coverage even with a sheer foundation that you love. So it's really a trial and error. That's not exactly what I'm talking about, but I want to show you what I do. Maybe you can pick up some tips here and there while I'm applying. So I have all of my eye makeup done, minus my brows. I'm gonna put a little gel on after my foundation. Many of the previous videos that I've done, I've touched on these things individually. Before I do foundation, I always prep my skin. So I've already put foundation on, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm using two primers today for my foundation. One is the Blur and Go from Lancome, and one is gonna be the Cover FX, their illuminating primer. I'm using two primers today because I want the Blur and Go to blur out my pores here. I do have a couple little blemishes going on. So I just kind of go in and it takes care of that. I'm gonna grab my nose here and probably up in my forehead and these creases here. So you notice, as I've said before, I didn't put it everywhere. I'm just kind of pressing into the skin where I want the blur. And then I'm gonna take this illuminating one, and again, I don't put it all over my face. I'm gonna put it out here, up on the cheek area, and probably just across there. Now we're ready. I always do this is another question I get asked actually. I personally do my concealer, which I'm going to be using the new Cover FX. It's the Cover FX Power Play. I do my concealer prior to my foundation. that's not a rule either. It just works better for me. I'm going to just go in here. And I am gonna go here because I got a yucky boo-boo. And then I had some moles removed, so I'm gonna take care of those. And I will show you what I meant. I got a little boo-boo there. I will show you what I meant by I use my fingers and I use a beauty blender, because right now I'm gonna just press this in and take that away. I don't wanna use a beauty blender there. I do use the beauty blender under my eyes because I like the hydration with my Hangover 3-in-1 primer spray, prime and set actually. This is the mystery beauty blender. I got it given to me and I can't remember the brand, but I will find out for you. It is so soft. It's the softest beauty blender I've ever used. Spray it, just go in and start blending this out. Now for me, I've tried brushes, it doesn't work for me. So I use a beauty blender with a little bit of hydration. This kind of goes with what I was saying. I use a full coverage concealer. I think this concealer is pretty full coverage. So that is why I use a beauty blender there. For me, I was trying a brush. It wasn't giving me the finish that I wanted, so I stopped. Now I'm just gonna go in with my foundation. I haven't talked about what I use. This is an IT cosmetic brush. And if you see, this was a special edition. They really support breast cancer. Amazing, amazing. And this is one of their breast cancer, that's why it's pink brushes, and it actually is the shape of a heart. This is a great brush for foundation because it's kind of stiff. They have another one, it's called a blurring brush, phenomenal. And those are the kind of brushes I do like to use for foundation because they give such a nice, almost airbrush finish. I like to press in, and I'm gonna show you right now. My foundation is not a full coverage. It's actually called Taunt Miracle from Lancome. It's amazing in my opinion. I absolutely love it. When I do use a full coverage foundation, I always drop a little bit of this product in there. I absolutely love the finish that it gives, the glow. And it mixes well with so many other foundations. If you have a really full coverage foundation and you want to add some luminosity, or it's a little too full coverage and you need to sheer it out a little bit, this would be the product to blend with it. I pump out just one pump onto my hand. It's not gonna dry down because even though it's oil-free, it's very hydrating. I do hardly any on my forehead because I don't feel like I need as much coverage on my forehead. And then I go in and I just really press it into the skin. Similar what you would do with a beauty blender. If you're looking for that full foundation, then probably a brush is not your choice. A beauty blender might be what you need to get the finish that you're looking for. Just going back in and I just go over my cheeks again, more pressing, and then I'll swirl it. You know, I did hear for pores, when you're using a brush to put your foundation on, to swirl it this way and then swirl it that way, and it like minimizes them. So I feel like that's plenty enough coverage for a day-to-day. And for me, even an evening out, this is what I do. I'm just gonna do my complexion real quick. This is the last thing I do, and honestly, when I'm not talking, it takes me about 5 minutes. The bronzer that I use every day of my life, Hoola by Benefit. I don't think there's one person that can't use this. It's just a phenomenal bronzer. I'll warm up my forehead just a little. Oh, and we did talk about brushes. This is one of my favorites. This is by MAC. It's angled. It is the perfect little bronzer brush. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that one because it just does it for me. I get used to it. Like I said before. Oh, I grabbed the wrong. Okay, I'm back. So I love this Too Faced palette. I'm gonna go in a little bit with blush just on top here. Then I do my fingers. Don't look at my nails. It's my day off, you guys. And off camera, I did do my lips. And I did this. This is a cute little, I got it in one of my, it's called Wonder Beauty. So I put that on with, of course, my Portel lip liner, because Portel from Lancome, because I use that almost with like every lipstick I wear. And I topped it with Buxom. This is their lip plumper. They have a bunch of, if you guys haven't tried Buxom, you need to, because it's awesome. This is White Russian, and I just topped it on top of my lipstick to give it a little bit of a glossy look. That is my take on beauty blenders, brushes, application process. I literally get asked almost every day, what is the best application? And my conclusion is, you gotta figure it out, because what I love, which would be a brush, you may not love that. So let me know. Talk to you soon. Give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do that. Thanks again and have a great day.